सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। Happy New Year to all of you. There is Happy New Year by some accounts. In India there are several New Years, and today is the New Year. It is the first of the Pratipada of the month of Chaitra, and therefore a very auspicious day. The North India celebrates this as now as the New Year mainly. The Telugu have their own New Year, Tamilians have their own New Year, Malayalis have their own New Year, the Gujaratis have their New Year, and others have their own New Year. So several New Years are there. In this section, the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, that's interesting. I thought that would say that also. But it says JyotirBrahmana. Jyotir means a light, or JyotirBrahmana. The main topic is to reveal the self-effulgence of Atma. Atma self is self-shining, self-revealing, and therefore self-existing, therefore self-sufficient. Satchit Ananda, that's the nature of Atma, which the Chit aspect, that is consciousness, shining and revealing everything, is what is here highlighted in this section. And for that, the state of dream is adopted for showing how the Atma is self-effulgent, meaning that the state of dream is found to be very convenient to reveal the self-effulgence of Atma, because dream is a state which is essentially a person is sleeping and therefore not aware of the outside world, and therefore the traditional luminaries like the sun and moon do not have entry into the sleep or the dream of this person, which means that dream is a state which is essentially sleeping as far as the outside world is concerned, where the external traditional luminaries do not have an entry. And dream is also a state where the whole interaction, all the vyavahara, the transaction shines in the dream, meaning that in the dream everything is evident. The subject is there, object is there, the world is there, the interactions are there. As it is in the waking state, dream state also we find a very similar setup is there and same kind of vyavahara is there. Which means that the vyavahara or transactions or interactions of the dream are also illumined, otherwise we would not be aware of them. And during the day here, waking state, we can say that it is because of this light that I see you, or sunlight that I see you, moonlight that I see at night. But in dream, when those luminaries are not available, and still I see similarly the people and objects with which I interact. So the question arises, what is it that illumines the dream world? In absence of all the external luminaries, the dream objects are still illumined as though they are in the waking state. So what is that light that illumines the dream world? And this is where we come to Atma, the Self. So because no traditional external luminaries are available, and still all the interactions and or transactions are illumined, so who illumines that? So this is how the Upanishad helps us arrive at the self-effulgence of Atma. In dream, the only entity that shines is Atma, the Self. Atrayam Purushaha Swam JyotirBrahmana. This is a state where the Swam Jyoti, self-effulgence of the Purusha, the person of the Atma, becomes very evident. Meaning that dream state is taken because it is relatively easy to demonstrate how the Atma or the Self is self-effulgent of the nature of consciousness. If you open page 6, verse number 10, न तत्र रसाः न रसयोगाः न पन्थानो भवन्ति. The dream also we experience as though we are riding a chariot on the path, watching the scenery around. There are rivers and there are lakes and there are ponds and trees, and this is what we see in the dream also. So thus, with reference to that dream experience, the Upanishad says, Na tatra rasaha. Although you feel that you are riding a chariot, understand that in dream there are no chariots. Na rasa yogaha. You feel or experience in the dream that you are riding along a road. There are no roads in the dream. Then where do the chariots and the horses and the roads, where do they come from? Atharathan rasayogan patah srijate. The dreamer himself creates the chariots and the horses and the path. The dreamer himself creates. Na tatra anandaha mudaha pramudaha bhavanti. There is no joy, there is no happiness, there is no ecstasy. Asa anandan mudaha pramudaha srijate. We experience joy there, happiness there, ecstasy also in the dream. Understand that there is no joy, no happiness, no ecstasy in the dream, meaning that what you are experiencing is not there really. You are experiencing a ride in chariot, there are no chariots. You are riding along the roads, there are no roads. You see rivers and lakes and ponds around in the park. There are no such rivers and lakes and ponds. And you enjoy the scenery. Sometimes they're ecstatic. There is no happiness, there is no joy, there is no ecstasy in the dream. But he himself creates the chariots and the horses and the paths and the rivers and the ponds and the happiness and the joy and the ecstasy. So passage number 10 says, Sahi Karta. The dreamer is the creator of the dream world. Next verse is, Tadete shlokaha bhavanti. Then the Upanishad quotes some shlokas or mantras of which we do not know the source. So question was last night, where do these shlokas come from? We are not able to trace them. But this is Upanishad, it is also Pramanam, it is also authentic. Why does the Upanishad have to quote shlokas from somewhere else to validate what they are saying? We commented that these shlokas or mantras are quoted here to validate what the Upanishad has said. Why should Upanishad have to validate itself? It's Pramanam, They say this is a style, this is a Brahmana Upanishad, and therefore it quotes mantras because mantras are said to be more authentic than Brahmana. Tadayate shloka bhavanti. Swapne nisaram aviprahutya asuptaha suptan abhichakashiti. This Purusha puts this body aside for experiencing dream. This body, as we say, is not compatible for gaining experiences of dream objects. Therefore, this body is set aside, meaning that it is made unconscious. The dreamer creates a new body for himself or herself. Asuptaha suptan abhichakashiti. Asuptaha, he does not sleep, but then he witnesses all other things that are sleeping. At that time, we are not aware of the body, not aware of the sense organs of action, not aware of sense organs of perception, not aware of the mind also. But in dream, one part of the mind is functioning, not the whole mind. Mind, as you know, has two aspects. One is buddhi, which is the determining aspect. Other is manaha, that is the emotional aspect or habitual aspect. Of that, the manaha part is functioning in dream. In dream, we don't make any decisions, etc. But in dream also, we experience, and it is mind, which is the habitual faculty that projects the dream world, and we experience, a dreamer experiences the dream world. Says Hiranmaya Purusha Ekahamsaha. Hiranmaya, the radiant being. Ekahamsaha, the one who moves alone. This is how Atma is described. He puts this waking body aside, creates a new body for experiencing dream. He is awake and therefore he watches all those other things that are asleep, meaning those, he creates his dream world, and that is what he watches his dream world. After the dream experience is over, he comes back to the waking state. verse number 12 said, Pranaya rakshan avaram kulayam bhishkulayad amritascharitva sa iyate mrito yatra kamam hiranmaya purusha ekahamsah. The last three words, hiranmaya purusha ekahamsah, that is again what I appeared in the previous one. Hiranmaya, the self-effulgent, Purusha, the whole, complete, limitless being, Ekahamsa, who only goes alone, which is one non-dual. Pranaya Rakshan Avaram Kulayam. This Kulayam, this need or this nest, which is Avaram inferior, this gross body in short, is protected. So even though this gross body does not enter in the dream a new body is created for dream experiences, but is to come back to the waking state. For waking state, this body is required, therefore this body is kept alive. And so the prana, the vital air is there which keeps this body alive. Pranaya Rakshan Avaram Kulayam. This kulayam, this need, this nest which is our avaram, as I said, so says to be inferior. He protects it by the vital air. Ahish kulayat amritascharitva. Then he supposedly goes out to gain various experiences. So iyate amrito yatra kamam. He goes wherever he wants in the dream. So in the dream we wander, we go to any places where we want. Kamam purusho nirvimana. Kathopanishad says that as the thought arises in your mind in the dream, the object is created. The mind thinks of mountain, a mountain is there. Thinks of a river is there. Whatever the mind thinks of, all that you need is just a thought for creating the dream object. You don't require the material and, upadana karanam. So what material is there for creating a mountain in the dream? You created a palace in the dream. Where did you get all the material to create that? Who was the architect who created that? Everything is you. You are the creator and you are the creation there. Then verse number 13 also we did. Oh, we have done 13 and 14 also. Okay. 15 also? No, 15 we haven't done. Okay. All right, so let us read the 15. So verse 14 concluded by King Janaka telling Yajnavalkya, Soham Bhagavate Sahasram Dadami. I am pleased with the Upadesha, O revered sir. I am offering you 1,000 cows and, for the Upadesha that you gave me. But still, what you have said is not enough for moksha. Ata urdvam vimokshaya bruhi. It is true, sir, that you said that Atma is Swam Jyoti, self-effulgent, right? But merely knowing Atma as self-effulgent is not enough for moksha. Bhayadehetu kama karmadi. That Atma is free from kama, desire, karma, action, bhaya, fear. even though I may be self-effulgent, if I am still subject to fear, desire, fear, anger and all these evils, then in spite of being self-effulgent, I am not free. I am not liberated. The one who is vimukta, liberated, must be free from any of the evils. So even though Sri Yajnavalkya clarified and described in detail how Atma is self-effulgent, still it is not stated as yet that Atma also is free from kama, desire, krodha, anger, bhaya, fear. And therefore, King Janaka wants to know, is that so or not? Meaning that knowing Atma as self-effulgent is not in itself sufficient for me to gain moksha, because moksha also means freedom from fear, etc. And therefore, still you have to tell us that Atma is also free from fear. All of that remains to be said. So here the student says, sir, your discourse is not complete yet. The promise that you gave me and the proposal that we had is that you will give me upadesha for moksha. What you have said is great, no doubt about that it is self-effulgent, Atma is self-effulgent. But unless you clarify that Atma also is free from fear, other evils of samsara, until then it does not become clear that Atma is ever free. So, knowing that Atma is self-effulgent is not enough for moksha. Therefore, atagurdvam, now further, please tell me about vimoksha. Visheshena moksho bhautena vimoksha. Here vimoksha means the essential, the true knowledge. Samyak jnanam. And thus the true knowledge of the Atma, I think I still don't have that. I have knowledge but not the complete knowledge of Atma. So therefore, there is karma, and there is karma creates karma phala, that creates again the raga dvesha. So there is also mrityu. As long, even though I am self-effulgent still, if I am subject to performing actions and action creates the outcome and it creates, success and failure, etc., that is all samsara. And therefore, knowing Atma as self-effulgent is not in itself sufficient to be mukta, liberated. So please tell me further about liberation. So now, Muni or say Yajnavalkya now teaches Janaka about the avasthatra, the three states of mind, the three so-called three states of consciousness, the waking, the dream and the deep sleep. To help us understand as to how Atma is free from fear and other samsaric things. Therefore, now the explanation is given of the Atma going through the three states of waking, dream and deep sleep. That I am the witness of waking, witness of dream, witness of deep sleep. And therefore, I am totally free and unattached or unaffected by what is there in the waking, what is there in the dream, what is in a deep sleep state. So in the next three kandikas, so every passage is called kandika. So next three kandikas, say Yajnavalkya describes the three states of awareness. So we are in verse 15. Sava eshaha etasmin samprasade ratva charitva drishtaiva punyam cha papam cha punaha pratinyayam pratiyoni adravati swapnaya eva saha yat tatra kinchit pashyati ananvagatastena bhavati asango hi ayam purushaha iti evameva etat yajnavalkya soham bhagavate sahasram dadami at urdhvam vimokshaya eva bruhiti. We were talking about the dream state. So, sva esha etasmin samprasade ratva charitva. So, this one who is dreaming, etasmin samprasadana goes to deep sleep state, is called samprasada. Deep sleep state is called samprasada. Samyak prasidati asmin iti samprasada. Sam and prasada. Sam means samyak. Prasada prasidati asmin. So that state in which one who is completely content. Prasidati is pleased. Samyak prasidati, very well pleased. That state in which one is very pleased is called samprasada. So which is the state where we are very pleased? In waking, it is hard to say that we are pleased. And dream is not much different from waking also, so dream also we can't say that we are always very pleased. There may be times when you are pleased, but not always. So which is the state where we are always pleased? That is the deep sleep state. Why do you think it is so? In fact, why is it that in deep sleep state we are very pleased? Nobody there, nobody to bother me. Then you'll be very lonely, would it not be? Don't depend upon others, okay. But are you not lonely? Right.
Mind is at rest.
True. Right. All answers are right. Basically, in the waking state, what is the cause of my unhappiness is this ego, the sense of individuality. Whenever I look at myself, I feel a sense of limitedness. And that is what makes me unhappy. Understand that the cause of unhappiness is my own self. Whenever I see myself limited, I see myself helpless, I see myself dependent. In waking state, I am limited because I am identified as the gross body. It's only when I lose the consciousness of gross body for some reason, then alone I feel free. Otherwise, as long as I'm aware of the body and there's identification of the body, I cannot become free from a sense of limitation in the waking state. In the dream also, there is a dream body. And there is habitual identification of the dream body as well. So, in dream also, I cannot be free from a sense of limitation. So, it is a sense of limitation, waking state, that is the cause of unhappiness. because there is body identification. In the dream, there is a dream body, there is identification, therefore you cannot be happy in the dream also. In deep sleep state, there is no awareness of the gross body, no awareness of subtle body, and therefore the factors which were making me feel a sense of limitedness, namely identification of the gross body and subtle body, they are not there. There is nothing to identify with. Therefore, in deep sleep, I am free from all identifications. I am not aware of my body. I am not aware of my mind. I am not aware of anything. And therefore, I am not identified with anything. Therefore, in deep sleep, I am myself, basically. Therefore, in deep sleep, we experience freedom. Freedom from sorrow. There is no second thing there. All that description will come, so I need not exhaust myself right now. But in deep sleep, all those various sources of unhappiness which are there in waking and dream, none of those sources of unhappiness or causes of unhappiness are there in deep sleep, and therefore I am free from anything that can make me unhappy. And therefore I am happy. Happiness is my nature. In the waking, all these entities make me unhappy. In the deep sleep, nothing is there. Therefore, I abide in happiness, which is my nature. So it's called samprasada. Samyak prasidati asmin is samprasada, where one is completely pleased with oneself. Sava eshe tasmin samprasade ratva charitva trashtiva punyam japapam cha. So ratva, enjoying, charitva, wandering. In the dream, he moves about and enjoys. In the deep sleep also, there is no moving about really. But anyway, still it says that in deep sleep also, he as though at free will moves about and enjoys. Punaha pratinyayam pratiyoni adravati sapna eva. From deep sleep he comes back to the dream, but the same path that he goes, it was said yesterday that the Jivatma as though has to travel from the extremities of sense organs in the waking state to these hita nadis or very fine nerves, they will describe it later, where dream is experienced, and from there he travels to the heart where the deep sleep is experienced. Again, from heart, by the same path he comes back to dream, by the same path he comes back to the waking. Pratinyayam, pratiyoni, the way that he went, the same way he comes back. So yat tatra kinchit pashyati anandvagatastena bhavati. Whatever he experiences in dream, he remains anandvagata, unconnected with those things. The Atma experiences dream state all right, but doesn't get connected to anything, attached to anything. And therefore, from the dream, when he goes to deep sleep, he leaves the whole dream world right there. Although in the dream he may be a millionaire, he may have won a lottery, he may have a big palace for himself. In dream you have a big business and he might have an empire there. All of this he may have created in a dream. But when he goes to sleep, he does not carry any of those things with him. He just leaves them in the dream itself and goes to sleep. In sleep again he experiences whatever he does experience, the profound sleep and therefore peace and happiness. When he comes to waking state, he leaves everything in the sleep, comes to waking state. From waking, when he goes to dream, he leaves everything in the waking state here. I may be a big politician here, I may be a big wealthy person, I may be anything here. I may have big mansions and what all. Everything is left here. That shows the detachment, understand. Even though this poor ego is attached to everything, Atma is unattached to anything. And therefore, the whole waking world is left here. And I go to dream. I may create a new world in the dream, gain various experiences, leave the dream world there, go to sleep. Now, when can I leave? For example, when can I travel from Rishikesh to Haridwar? When I am not Rishikesh. When I am not connected to Rishikesh. Then I can leave Rishikesh where it is, go to Haridwar. I am not connected to Haridwar. I can leave Haridwar where it is, go to Delhi. If I was Delhi, then I would carry Delhi with me wherever I went. But I go from one city to the other because I am not connected with those cities one after the other. Thus Atma also as though travels in 3 cities of waking, dream and deep sleep, or the gross, subtle and causal bodies at will. When can you do that? When you are not connected at all, you have the freedom to leave this thing here, go to dream. Freedom to leave the dream there, go to deep sleep. Freedom to leave it there, come back to waking. You follow this? The fact that we are thus having experiences of the 3 states of waking, dream and deep sleep, and we almost at will go from one to the other. And I don't know how many times we dream and how many times we sleep, and that all kinds of doctors have said, this kind of sleep and what rapid eye movement, this, that and so forth. But apparently I may be going to sleep and waking up and dreaming and whatever happens at night, I don't know. But then at will, we are in short moving from one state to the other. That is important. That shows our freedom. That we are free to travel from waking to dream, back to waking or to sleep, back to dream, to sleep, to waking, wherever we want, at will, we are. This is a very important thing to note. What is important about it? That I am free. I am not, although when I am awake, then I am attached to a million things. But when I really think about all the 3 states, see, when we think of our life, we only take into account the waking state. If we take into account all the 3 states, this waking world makes me miserable, let us say. It's possible. And I think I'm a miserable person, I'm condemned. But you are not. When you go to dream and this is all left here. Oh, Swami, same fellow, chases me. Then you go to deep sleep. Nobody can enter there. So when we take into account all the 3 states, then we realize that, okay, this is not, I think I'm stuck with, you are not stuck with anything. Swami, I'm stuck with this. I got married, I'm stuck. I got children, I'm stuck. I have this job, I'm stuck. But when you go to dream, this all remains here, don't worry. Oh, in the dream also they chase me. And you go to sleep, and everything remains there. So take into account all the 3 states. There will be a lot of relief, That we think that we are, in the waking state is so miserable sometimes. Don't worry, I have the freedom to go to dream. I have the freedom to go to sleep. I am free. I feel I am suffering because I am identifying with certain things. I think that I am the body, I am so and so, I am such and such person. Who suffers? That such and such person. But I have the freedom to give up that such and such person when I go to dream, when I go to sleep. So I should remind myself. Whenever you feel sad, you remind yourself, this is not who you are. This is not the only thing that you are. You are different in dream. And even in dream, if there is something, in deep sleep, nothing will touch you. So take into account all the three states. There is a lot of relief in our life because we think that we are stuck with this miserable life, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is. But this is not all. There is something called. So, in such elaboration, the Upanishad discusses dream state and deep sleep state also. This is the Upanishad which elaborately also discusses a deep sleep state. To bring to our attention that waking is not the only state, that is not all that is about us, that these other things are also there. So Ratva, Charitva, in waking state, he moves about, he enjoys and leaves everything here and goes to sleep, dream. Dream again, he moves about as he wishes and enjoys things and leaves everything there, goes to sleep. In sleep also he moves about whichever way it is. There is no moving about, but still, you enjoy that, leave it there and come back to waking. Meaning thereby that you are free from waking, dream and deep sleep. Asango, so the message is Asango hoyam purusha. That's a very famous statement. Asango hoyam purusha. This purusha, the self is asanga, is unattached, is detached. That state comes from here, that statement which often teachers will quote. Asango hoyam purusha. Atma is unattached, detached. Janaka is very pleased. Says, Soham Bhagavate Sahasram Dadami. In return, in compensation for the teaching that you imparted, I offer 1,000 cows. But still, you have not taught me enough to become more liberated. And so, Ata urdhvam vimokshaya bruhiti. Please tell me further about the moksha, where vimoksha visheshena mukta, that I am completely free. I am partially free with this knowledge, but please teach me all about Atma so that I become completely free. Swapnadu Atmanah karma asambandham tam evameva. So at least the dream state, Atma is not connected to karma of the waking, etc. And so that represents freedom, but not total freedom. So now I come to the 16th passage. 16, 17? Right. On the page 8. Sava eshaha etasmin swapne ratva charitva drishtvaiva punyam cha papam cha punaha pratinyayam pratyuni adravati buddhantaya eva sayat tatra kinchit pashyati Ananvāgatastena bhavati asango hi ayam purushaha iti evameva etat yajñavalkya soham bhagavate sahasram dadami at urdhvam vimoksha eva gruhite. So in the dream also, ratva charitva, enjoying the objects of dream, moving about at his will in the dream, having thus completed experience of dream, drustvaiva punyam cha papam cha, the dream also experiences pleasure as well as pain. Pleasure is the result of the punya karma, the virtuous deeds. Pain is the result of the papa karma, the evil deeds that he must have done. Drustvaiva punyam cha papam cha. Having completed that, as we said, it is his own karma that brings about the dream state. As long as that karma is effective, so long the dream state lasts. When the karma that gave rise to dream state get over, then the dream state also comes to an end. And then pratinyayam pratiyoni adravati buddhantaya. By the same way, an inverse way, he comes back to the waking state. So there is a travel involved, as I said, that the waking experiences take place at the extremities of the sense organs. The dream experience takes place here, somewhere around the na in the hita nadis, or and the deep sleep state experience takes place in the heart. So some travel is involved actually. That's why we told yesterday, don't wake him up suddenly. Otherwise, if he loses his path, then he may find up in some other place and may not come back, or may become blind, something may happen. So give him the time to wake up. So he comes back to the waking state. Again, the same statement is repeated. Whatever he experiences in the dream, he remains unconnected to that and comes back to the waking state by the same path inversely that he went to the dream. Very good. King Janaka is happy. Says, sir, I offer you 1,000 cows. But still, your Upadesha is not enough to give me moksha. Ata uzma vimokshaya bruhi. Further, please tell me about vimoksha. I offer you 1,000 cows, but talk to me about moksha. Next verse says how, both in the waking as well as in dream states, Atma is asanga, is unconnected. The asangatvam, or the unconnectedness of the Atma, or unattachedness of the Atma. Sanga means attachment, asanga means unattached. The Atma is unattached to anything in the waking state or dream state. He is explained here with an example in the passage number 18. 17 is left. Oh, 17. Okay. Sava eshaha etasmin buddhante ratva charitva drustvaiva punyam cha papam cha punaha pratinyayam pratiyoni adravati swapnantaya eva. Does everybody have this handout? Because I see somebody looking at me instead of looking at this thing, So, Buddhanta means waking. Samayetasmin buddhante ratva charitva. From dream he comes back to the waking state. In waking state also, according to his karma, he enjoys things, he moves about, ratva charitva. Drishtava punyam cha papam cha. Experiences pleasure as a result of his punya or the virtuous deeds. Papam experiences pain as a result of the result of his vicious deeds. Punaha, when that is over, pratinyayam pratiyoni adravati. The same passage that he went in an inverse way, he comes back to the dream state. So how Atma is at will able to move from one state to the other? Because asangoyam purusha, this purusha Atma is asanga, unattached. That means that he is not controlled, really speaking, by the things in the waking of the dream state because he is unconnected. But Swamiji, I feel connected, I have been affected all the time in the waking state. I feel affected in the dream state. You feel affected, but not Atma. But what's the difference between who are you? You are Atma identified with this body, mind, sense complex. That's Jivatma, same Atma. So Jivatma becomes affected by by the things in waking and dream state. Atma does not. Meaning that if we give up the identification with this body, mind, sense complex and establish our identification with Atma, then you are not that you have to become free, you are already free. Asanga, unattached. So while going through all the experiences in waking and dream and deep sleep, things change according to karma, but as far as Atma is concerned, unaffected, unattached. So because he is asanga or unattached, how he is unconnected and therefore not controlled by anything. So his freedom is being shown in the next verse with an example, verse number 18. On the page 9. Tadyatha Mahamatsya Ubhe Kule Anusancharati Purvam Cha Aparam Cha Evameva Ayam Purushaha Etau Ubhau Antau Anusancharati Swapnantam Cha Buddhantam Cha. Showing the freedom of Atma, the example of Mahamatsya as a great fish, Mahamatsya, not small fish, big, maybe like what? Shark, big fish. Ubhe kule anusancharati. Now, of course, let us say it is in a river where there is flow of water. The small fish and small entities will be swept in the current of the river. This big shark, it does not. Shark is is not affected by the sweeping current of the river. In spite of that, the shark retains his freedom to move about as it wants. Ubhe kule anusancharati. At will, he comes to the right bank. At will, goes to the left bank. Whatever be the current in the river, that shark is unaffected by that. And therefore at will moves about from this bank to the other. Evam eva ayam purusha, so also this Atma, Ubhau antu anusancharati. He also at will goes from waking to sleep and sleep to waking. The dream is also called sleep. It is sleep, so Atma also similarly goes from waking to sleep at will. Comes back from sleep to waking. So the freedom of the Atma of movement is shown here with the example of Mahamatsya or a big fish. Now comes to a deep sleep state where again Atma is different from everything, to show that again another Drishtanta is given in the passage number 19. So why do I hear you turning of the page on the same page? तद्यथा अस्मिन् आकाशे श्येनो वा सुपर्णो वा विपरिपत्य श्रान्तः संवृत्य पक्षौ संललाय एव ध्रियते एवमेव अयं पुरुषः एतस्मै अन्ताय धावति यत्र सुप्तः न कंचन कामं कामयते न कंचन स्वप्नं पश्यति. See, those who have studied or are studying Upanishad, they'll find some of these statements quite familiar. Like in Mandukya Upanishad also, this yatra supto na kanchana kamam kamayate na kanchana swapnam pashyati tat sushuptam. In the Mandukya Upanishad, Sushupti, which talks about the three states, waking, dream and deep sleep. Sushupti or deep sleep state is described by this, the same sentence is repeated there. Yatra suptaha na kanchana kamam kamayate. Well, a sleeping person does not desire any objects of desire. Na kanchana swapnam pashyati. Well, the sleeping one does not see any dreams. Where the sleeping one does not desire any objects. Where the sleeping one does not see any dreams. But sleeping one does not desire any objects anyway. Why does Upanishad say Yatra supta na kanchana kamam kamayate? Where the supta, the sleeping one, na kanchana kamam kamayate, does not desire any objects. In sleep, nobody desires object. So where the sleeping one does not desire any object, thereby the Upanishad is saying that even when we think we are awake, we are still sleeping. The sleep is the sleep of ignorance. So the one sleeping in ignorance, as we are right now, in this, the waking also is in ignorance, the dream also is in ignorance, and deep sleep also is in ignorance. Ignorance is called sleep. Ignorance is avidya, means the absence of knowledge, absence of light of knowledge, that means there is darkness. So ignorance also is called darkness or sleep. So we are as though sleeping in the beginningless sleep of ignorance. From there we have to wake up. Yes, sakshat kurute prabhu. So we have to wake up from sleep. We are also sleeping in the beginningless sleep. From the time beginning we are asleep where? In the sleep of ignorance. So in the sleep of ignorance there is waking, dream and deep sleep. So even when we think that we are awake, yes, to this waking world, we are still sleeping to the nature of the self. In Bhagavad Gita there is a nice verse which says what is day for the sleeping man or ignorant man is the night for the wise person. Ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagati sanyami. So similarly also here, yatra supto kanchana kamam, where the sleeping one does not desire anything and does not see any dream, that is called sleep. Where the sleeping one does not desire anything, does not see any dream. So that is really the sleep as we understand. The sleeping one does not. Sleeping one is the ignorant one. Where the ignorant? So right now we are sleeping. What? In the sleep of ignorance. Where we are desiring things during the day, during the waking and the dream states, and don't desire anything in the deep sleep states. But this so-called the waking world also is sleeping as far as the nature knowledge of the self is concerned. That's why the verse 19, the last one, yatra supto na kanchana kamam kamayate, na kanchana swapnam pashyati, where the sleeping one does not desire anything, but the sleeping one does not see any dreams. Because when the ignorant one does not see any dreams, the ignorant one does not have any desires. So this is explained here with the example of a Shenova supernova. So either it is a hawk, Shenaha, Suparnaha, a falcon. So there are huge birds, very powerful birds, and therefore they can fly, freely, without any obstruction of the wind, etc. Doesn't matter, even if there is, the wind is blowing, still these birds are so powerful that they can fly as they want. Just as that big fish also was free to move about in the river regardless of the current of the water, so also these big birds in the sky also will fly at will regardless of what the current of the wind is. We'll continue our discussion in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo